Hey guys, welcome back. Now we're going to do the next set, and it starts here on page 6 with question 16. So looking at our number line, it looks like they've labeled every other tick mark. So I'm going to label these other tick marks just to kind of clear this up. And I noticed I'm finding the length of each segment, and it actually tells me, see example 1. So it tells you which example in your notes you should get. So in our notes, we used two methods. Either we took 1 point, so let's say you had a point A and a point B. You take whatever the coordinate for point A and you subtract it from point P and you find the absolute value. Or you take point B and subtract it from point A. Either one will give you the right answer. The other way to do this is what I call bunny hopping, right? So I'm going to use both methods, and I should get the same answer. So D. D is at, point D is at -4. And point F is at -1. So the absolute value of -1 minus -4. Or I could have done -4 minus -1. I should get the same answer. Either way, you could pick either point. So -4 minus a -4. -1 minus a -4 would equal -1 plus 4. And -4 plus 1. Either way, I get -1 plus 4. So -1 plus 4 is 3. And -4 plus 1 is -3, and those equal the same thing. Now, another way to do it would have just been the bunny hop, right? 1, 2, 3. So I'm definitely sure my answer is 3. Now let's take a look at FG. So we look at FG, and I bunny hop, I get 3. But I could use algebra to make sure. So F is at -1. And G is at 2. So the absolute value of 2 minus -1 is 2 plus 1, which is 3. Good job. Now let's look at 22 and 24. Now using my notes, it said see example 3. So you can use your notes. So we used an example similar to this. So it says AC is 16. So this whole thing is 16. That's made up of 2 different line segments. So I should be able to add them together to get the whole thing. So I notice the first line segment, AB, plus the second line segment, BC, should add up to the whole thing, AC. This is called the segment addition postulate. So let's substitute what we have here. AB is labeled x plus 7. BC is labeled 2x. And last but not least, AC is 16. So we've built our algebra equation. When we combine these, be careful. A couple of students were thinking maybe this would be x squared, but again, we're just adding. So if we added 1x with 2 more x's, we should get 3x. Then if I subtract on both sides, and if I divide on both sides, there we go. So I get x is equal to 3, and that's what they asked me on question 22. Now let's use this information for 24. It said BD. What is that? So that's this section. So very similar to the last question. These 2 segments added together. So the first segment is 2x, the second segment is 3x minus 1, and the whole thing is supposed to equal BD, but we don't know what that is. That's what we're solving for. So it feels like we can't answer this. The first segment, BC, and the second segment, CD, should add up to the whole thing, BD, right? But remember, we solve for x is 3. So we can actually substitute the 3 in here. So 2 times 3, 3 times 3, minus 1. So just kind of doing some math in my head, I get 14. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. The next set of questions say, see example 6. So we took some notes on example 6. So let's take a look here. It says, suppose EG is 3. So EG has 1 tick mark. So I'm just going to call that segment 1. So segment 1 is 3. So that means this one is 3 and that one is 3. Those are all 3. Then it says EB is 8. So I'm going to use a different color. EB is 8. So 2 tick marks is 8. 2 tick marks is 8. Okay. Angle EBG is 19. EBG is 19. And there's 1 arc mark. I'm just going to highlight one. That's 19 degrees. So that would be 19 degrees. And that would be 19 degrees. EGF. EGF. Ooh, I didn't see that right. I think I copied that wrong. That's 2. That had 2 arc marks. So my apologies. That one is 19. And this other one is 28. So this one's 28. That means this one's 28 because it definitely has 1 arc mark. So these have 1 arc mark, they're 28. 2 arc marks, that's 19. So this one also has 2 arc marks. So that one has to be 19 degrees. Now let's see what they've asked me to do. After I've read the directions, find each value. So what's the value for AD? So they want this whole length. Oh, and they told me AF is 7. So I'm just going to redraw it here because there's a lot going on in my picture. It said AF is 7. This whole thing is 7. And remember, I know this little part is 3, right? So that means AD would have to just be 7. I can call it X. Whatever it is, plus the 3 has to add together to make 7. So hopefully in your head or using algebra, you're like, oh, that's got to be 4, because 4 plus 3 is 7. Now let's look at 33. It says, what's the measure of CAF? CAF, that's an angle we don't really have measurement to. But let's see in the problem if they gave us another angle, maybe the bigger angle, right? So CAE is 51. CAE, so the bigger angle is 51. So this angle, the angle on the right, I'll call it angle 3, plus the angle with 2 arc marks, angle 2, has to add up. The big angle and the one with 2 arc marks has to add together to be 51. And we know the one with 2 arc marks happens to be 19. So we can solve for this, and again, we can call it X, but we usually just use another letter. So I'll call it Y. Y plus 19 is 51. So let's solve for our answer. 32. Okay, one more in this section. It says CAF. CAF. Oh, that's what it, duh, okay. I solved it there. I just, for whatever reason, I guess I must wrote it above the question, because these questions we don't have to do. You can do them for extra practice. All right, last one in this section on this page 6, it says points Q, P, Q, R, and S are collinear. So I have to draw a line, and I have to know what the word collinear is, or if I don't know what to draw. So that means all on one line. And I don't know if they're spaced together or far apart. I'm not sure. Now I'm just going to sketch a line and put them all in one line. Point Q is between P and R. R is between Q and S. And PQ is congruent, remember that's what that symbol means, to RS. So PQ is congruent to RS. So they need the same tick mark. So I didn't really draw it correctly. And so some students, this might bother them, so they might want to redraw it. So they don't really know how far apart Q and R is, but we know that RS is the same distance away from R to S as P to Q, because that's what this statement means. Now they're saying if PS is 18, so PS, if this whole thing is 18, so that's 3 segments here. If the whole thing is 18, and PR is 15. PR is 15. So this thing is 15. Well, I think I know how far the part that's still yellow is, because if the whole thing's 18 and you chop off the orange, you're left with 3, right? 15, 16, 17, 18. So I use the same kind of logic. If the whole thing's 18 and I subtract 15, I get 3. Now remember, we said these are congruent, so I now know this one's 3 because they're congruent. So they ask, what is the value of QR? Interesting. I'm not sure, so I'm going to call QRX. I make X what I don't know, and I'm going to add these 3 because I know what all 3 of these equal. I also know this orange one, right? This orange one is 15, so 3 plus X I know is 15, so I can do it that way. I subtract 3 on both sides. I can solve for the length of that. So X we made as QR, and that has to be 12. Thanks for joining us. Check out the next video for the next set of questions.